thank you for inviting me to say a few words about the 75th anniversary of the Department of Drama. Since it's the first Department of Drama in the country and the Commonwealth, saying something on the occasion of the 75th anniversary is uncharted territory. No other drama department in any of those countries has yet celebrated such a milestone. I want to acknowledge the vision of Amorous Jones, the first professor of drama at the University of Saskatchewan, that led to the department's growth and influence. And I want to acknowledge the many department heads, including Amorous himself, who played such an important role, and the incomparable Henry Wolfe among them. I've often said that there isn't a visual artist in this province, or a musician, or a music educator, or a theater professional who has not in some way been influenced directly or indirectly by our fine arts departments. The place occupied by the drama department in this city and province and country and well beyond is stellar. Alumni include my good friend Kim Coates and stage luminaries alongside him such as Frances Hyland, Eric Peterson, Susan Wright, Sharon Baker, James O'Shea, and Tom Rooney, and many others I haven't mentioned. And their impact has not been exclusively on the stage. It's been in the promotion of the value of drama for everyone, from here at the Greystone and Persephone and 25th Street theaters, and Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan, to Canada's Stratford, to so many other venues and theater communities in Canada and far beyond it. Saskatoon on its own is unimaginable without the theaters and stages I mentioned, and many others too, and I'd argue that they would not have existed were it not for the drama department. Its faculty and students and staff and alumni and supporters. The department has nurtured talent for decades, 7.5 decades, and trained and attracted it. If you want a testament to that, read Dwayne's book, Amorous Dream, or Henry's extraordinary Barcelona is in Trouble. Congratulations to everyone who has made the drama department a 3/4 of a century success, and to its current faculty and students and staff who continue Amorous Dream. And let's start planning for the 100th anniversary soon.
As Dean of the College of Arts and Science, I am pleased to offer my congratulations on the occasion of the Department of Drama's 75th anniversary. This is a historic milestone. As the longest-running theatre program and discipline in Canada and the Commonwealth, it is exciting to celebrate the accomplishments and successes of our students, alumni, and professors. For 75 years, you have created traditions together. For 75 years, you have supported one another as students, alumni, and professional colleagues. You have created new and innovative programs such as the Wichito Inn Theatre program, which is now creating stories for new generations. You are part of a family of over 450 drama graduates living and working across the world, and you are part of a larger community of alumni from across the College of Arts and Science and the University of Saskatchewan. I wish we could be together in person to celebrate this special occasion. Please know that when it is safe to do so, and you are always welcome to visit, and I encourage you to reach out to me. You will always have a home in the College of Arts and Science, and I wish you well as you celebrate this important milestone.
As head of the Department of Drama, I want to welcome you to our 75th anniversary. The University of Saskatchewan Department of Drama was established in 1945. That makes us the oldest degree-granting Department of Drama in Saskatchewan, in Canada, and also the entire British Commonwealth. We are proudly rooted in Saskatchewan. We began as an inspired initiative between the University Extension, community theatre, and educational drama movements in the province. In the 75 years since then, our faculty, students, and graduates have continued to feed and grow our own community, while also contributing to the national and international theatre scene. Our robust department now offers an assortment of Bachelor of Arts programs and 2 Bachelor of Fine Arts programs in design and acting, as well as a certificate program. We also offer a Master's Graduate program. Greystone Theatre, one of the province's oldest continually producing theatre institutions, premiered on campus in 1946. Since then, we've produced hundreds of plays from the World Theatre, including premieres of Saskatchewan work. The Department of Drama also contributes to the local community by offering kids' theatre camps in the summer. Although we are disappointed to not be able to gather in person for this celebration, I'm thrilled that you are joining us for our online anniversary events. I hope you enjoy revitalizing your connections and reliving great memories. Welcome to our 75th anniversary.
What we aim to do in the drama department is send our students out back where they come from with a love for the arts. A life without art is like living in a house without windows. You can't see out and no light can come in. And that's what I love about this university and this department, that they open the doors of the arts as well as all the other areas of study.
To my colleagues, our students, alumni, and friends, congratulations on the 75th anniversary of the Department of Drama. As one of the newest faculty members to join the Department of Drama, I'm excited to be leading one of the only Indigenous theatre training programs housed in a Canadian university, the Wet'suwet'en Theatre Program. The Wet'suwet'en Theatre Program, launched in 2015, is a certificate program for emerging First Nations, Métis, and Inuit actors, playwrights, and designers, as well as students interested in an Indigenous perspective on theatre. The Department of Drama recently hosted Pekiogage Ekwa Achimustawanan, an Indigenous theatre conference. It was a digital gathering place for Indigenous theatre makers, scholars, practitioners, and intellectual kin to exchange knowledges, stories, techniques, and other gifts. As we mark the 75th year of the department, I embrace the opportunity to reflect on the incredible history of the Department of Drama and to celebrate this major milestone. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy.
Hey, check this out. You know what that says, Dwayne Brenna? That says drama department. Rumor has it you're still there. You've been there for 75 years. Wow. You look great for your age. Oh, wait. It's the 75th anniversary of this place, where I went with you in the late 70s and early 80s, and I took this from Tom Kerr's door because I knew it belonged to me. Because this thing, this beautiful plaque, propelled this face, Kim Coates, to where I am today. And I can't thank it enough.
Studying playwriting with Bingo Maver in his office, watching the pipe smoke curl up to the ceiling, clump acting with Henry Wolfe, midnight rehearsals in the Arena Theatre for bunch-ups with a case of beer, those were the days. I became a writer because of my time in the drama department.
I've been a professional actor for the past 30 years, and it is without a doubt that if it hadn't been for the drama department, I wouldn't be acting today.
One of the best things that I learned during my time in the drama department was perseverance. One of the things that had pushed me through my professional life. So thank you for that.
Drama Department, 82 to 85. Rock and Roll Hamlet, Guys and Dolls, David Mamet, James McClure, and the Comedy of Errors, On a Beach with Real Sand. Some of my classmates and castmates have become lifelong friends, and some lifelong enemies. You know who you are. We did not burn down the hangar building, but I may have been present when it was filled with smoke.
Tom Kerr was the department head, and he would go off and direct plays internationally all over. And he'd tell people that he was working with, he would say, come back and see my kids. The Greystone Mafia, as we like to call ourselves.
Truly, it was a blessing to have been a student in the hangar building. I was surrounded by amazingly talented people who went on to have stellar careers in the theater and are still working today.
I am so grateful for all the experiences that I've had there. It's made me who I am today, for giving me a chance to perform and to start this fire in me of wanting to perform and wanting to create.
Thank you, Drama Department. Here's to the next 75 years. Congratulations.
Thank you and congratulations.
Happy 75th Greystone.
Happy 75th.
Congratulations on 75 years, and I hope to talk and see you all soon. Peace. Kim Coates.
And now the weather. The forecast for the blasted heath: blow, winds, and crack your cheeks. Rage, blow.
Hello, everybody. Very pleased to see you all here again. I'm Moira Day. I'm head of the Department of Drama. I want to thank you for coming to our first lecture after our opening event earlier on Monday. Please be aware that we will be recording this event. Again, welcome to June and the final celebrations of our 75th anniversary season. Whether you performed in Act 1, 1945 to 1970, Act 2, 1971 to 1995, or Act 3, 1996 to 2020, please check out and savor our series of lectures, reunions, and special events to celebrate 75 years of creating theatre together in Saskatchewan, and to talk with the students and faculty who will be taking us forward into Act 4. Also, please join us for the final play of our 75th anniversary season, Kevin Kerr's Poignant and Haunting Unity 1918, as directed by alumni director Sky Brandon. As we gather here today, we acknowledge we are on Treaty 6 territory in the homeland of the Métis. We pay our respect to the First Nations and Métis ancestors of this place, and to reaffirm our relationship with one another. Now, a few instructions. At the bottom of your screen, you will see a question and answer tab. If you click that, a question and answer box will pop up. Please feel free to submit any questions you have into the question and answer at any point in the event. There will be time at the end of the event for us to address audience questions. If you would like to see a live transcript of this event, please select that option from the box at the bottom of your screen. The Show Subtitle option will show you subtitles at the bottom of your screen. The View Full Transcript will show you a sidebar at the full transcript. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce us. I'm Moira Day, and my colleague, Jo Jeffrey, is a design BFA student in the department and a member of our Canadian theatre class. And she's going to take you the first half of the journey from the closing years of the 19th century to 1920. And I'm going to take you from the 1940s through the start of the department's early years. So today we look into the past, not the far past, but our past, to paraphrase Dickens. We're also going to be joined by current arts and science students Maria Hannev, who is in her second year of health studies and assisting with the webinar today. I'll be moderating the question and answer portion of the event this evening. So take it away, Jill.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Moira. All right. So like Moira said, my name is Jill Jeffrey, and I am in my fourth year of a Bachelor of Fine Arts majoring in design. The information I will be speaking on today is based on research that I did last term for a Canadian theatre history class. I apologize if the presentation seems a little scattered, as I will only be able to touch on a small portion of the larger picture. I encourage you afterwards to check out the website www.greystonetheatre.org to find out more information about this topic. So it all begins at the turn of the century when Saskatchewan joined the Dominion of Canada in 1905. The government encouraged immigration to the west, and thanks to the railway, the province saw rapid growth in subsequent years. It was decided that while Regina would be named the capital of the province, the former temperance colony of Saskatoon was chosen for the site of the new university in 1907. This decision would prove to have a massive influence on the city's growth, as Saskatoon would become known as a university town. In 1907, Saskatoon opened its first movie theatre called The Kevin. Movies became one of the most popular forms of entertainment, and within a few years, Saskatoon had over 10 movie houses, some of which are still landmark locations today. For example, pictured here is the Victoria, which opened in 1913 and has had many identities over the years, from the Tivoli, the Grodeon, the Odeon, the Paradise, back to the Odeon again, O'Brien's, and most recently, the Coors Event Center. Also in 1907, a man named Corliss Powers Walker opened a grandiose theater in Winnipeg named the Walker Theater. It was through Walker that Saskatoon was added to the Red River Valley's circuit and got to see big name stars come to Saskatoon, including Minnie Fisk, Harley Granville Barker, and Miss Vesta Victoria. Pictured here is the first performance theater in Saskatoon, opened in 1910 and was named the Empire Theater. It was part of a conglomerate of businesses owned by Joseph Sutton, situated in the same structure that was dubbed the Empire Block. The design for the Empire Theater was extravagant. It was draped in gold fabrics and carpeted flooring. The boxes were fully upholstered, and hundreds of opera chairs had been shipped from Ontario. When it first opened, it could house 800 people. That number rose to 1,200 after renovations sometime in 1912 or 1913. Variety shows in the 19th century had developed a bad reputation for being bawdy and crass, so attendance began to wane. Vaudeville was born from the desire to create a different and less perverse form of entertainment that attracted women and children. Types of shows included, but were not limited to, dancers, singers, comedians, ventriloquists, hypnotists, menageries, freak shows, concert saloons, circuses, movies, skits, and so much more. Stock and touring companies also came through with vaudeville, and at this period in time, it was the golden age of the roadshow. A stock company consisted of a group of the same actors performing from a repertoire of pieces and remained at the same establishment for longer periods. A touring company was usually centered around one show or one star and would travel to a succession of cities. Popular stock companies to stay in Saskatoon were the George H. Summers Stock Company and the Oliver Eckert Players. Other ways Saskatoonians entertained themselves were concerts, lectures, dances, or nights at home with family and friends. The following quote was taken from Michael Hayden's book, Seeking a Balance, The University of Saskatchewan, 1907 to 1982. Saskatoon had welcomed the university. Some were glad because its coming would be good for the city. There was no doubt that the university changed the future of Saskatoon. The work of the city fathers in getting several railroads into town had assured it a place as a distribution center, but the university would attract a faculty who both earned and spent money and encouraged the development of education and the arts. In time, the staff of the university made up a significant percentage of the city's workforce, and the university, through its payroll and the purchase of supplies and services, became a significant factor in Saskatoon's economy. Without the university, Saskatoon would have ended up more like North Battleford or Prince Albert. The university proved to be incredibly beneficial for Saskatoon's early economy. Students and staff alike flocked to the university from all over North America. Each employee was handpicked by Walter Murray, the university's first president, for their extensive backgrounds and a knowledge about a wide variety of subjects. The first classes in 1910 saw 70 students enrolled, and that number rose by roughly 50% every year, despite the many obstacles throughout the decade, like war, plague, and mutiny. Murray noticed early on that the province relied heavily on agriculture, and that by growing the university's Department of Agriculture, he could guarantee rising numbers of enrollment. Although it would later be home of the Commonwealth's first drama department, drama as a subject was not taught as its own class, but was studied in the curriculum within other departments like literature and history. However, the University Dramatic Society was founded in 1914 as an extracurricular club that hosted variety nights and performed amateur productions. When war broke out in 1914, Saskatchewan joined Canada in supporting its troops. The university campus was turned into a recruitment and training facility, and Murray offered class credits or salary incentives for any man who went to war. A well-known English professor by the name of Reginald Bateman caused an uproar when he announced his enlistment and would therefore be unable to teach his classes. Some students had traveled across the country to attend his classes. He never returned from overseas. 330 students served in the war, 66 died or were killed in action, and more than 100 were wounded. Women were taught drills and given valuable medical training that would later prove useful during the Spanish flu pandemic. War was a time when women were thrust into greatness while the men were abroad fighting for freedom. From its very inception, the university has been forward-thinking and accepting in its diversity. President Murray believed women had a right to an education, and between 1910 and 1920, women were accepted as students, then staff, and eventually faculty. When male enrollment dipped during the war, women filled out the student numbers, so the university continued to grow. The loss of men also meant faculty positions were suddenly open to women, and student body government nominations were available to and won by women. In the greater Saskatoon community, women in general expanded their sphere of influence and won new rights as a result of stepping up to assume new responsibilities during war and sickness. The pandemic created even further strife after 4 years of war. Although Canadians were happy their men were returning from overseas, by October 20th, the Spanish flu pandemic had shut down everything, from the theaters to the university, until the new year. 3,906 people died in the first 3 months. The university turned Emmanuel College into an emergency hospital, but that is where the virus spread and claimed the lives of 2 students and 4 employees. Overall, Saskatchewan lost roughly 6.6% of its population. Neither vaudeville nor the stock companies weathered the pandemic well. While the professional touring companies did better, new media like radio, film, and gramophones cut increasingly into their market as popular commercial entertainment. Future years led rise to the Little Theatre movement, and Saskatoon's community focused on rebuilding and revitalizing its cultural scene. That meant including the rise of the Little Theatre movement and the flourishing of amateur theatre across the province. And so that concludes my portion of the information just from the first decade from the university's inception. Moira is going to continue on to later decades and the creation of the drama department. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you all enjoy the remainder of the anniversary celebrations.
Okay, thank you, Jill. So I get closer to the founding of the department. And again, if I interest you, we have people who are coming on Saturday who actually lived through this era and can tell you what it was there firsthand. I look as if I'm old enough to be there. I wasn't, I assure you. It's a lie. So my talk is called A Family of Skunks Has Moved In at the Rear of the Building, or The Founding of the University of Saskatchewan Department of Drama, 1944 to 1951. I'm going to start this talk with a story. My first acquaintance of the Department of Drama is actually through this gentleman. So, thank you. Frank Beckert. He started off as Thisbe in the 1948 touring production of the Mechanics play for Midsummer's Night's Dream. At the time, he graduated with a B.Ed in drama in 1949. The department was just getting ready to move into its temporary new home. It looked like this. Fast forward 40 years. I arrive as a spanking new faculty member and eagerly move into my new home in drama. And it looks like, oh gosh, yeah, it looked like this too. Our temporary home, an old hangar building that housed us from 1949 to 1983, undoubtedly communed with nature in all sorts of interesting ways. In my time, it sported the thatch of wild weeds and grasses that no one dared remove because we suspected it was all that was holding the roof together. So we were not all that surprised to arrive at work one day and find a notice outside the drama office informing us that a family of skunks has moved into the rear of the building. So The news we were going to have to watch our step rounding the corner of the building was, well, pretty much taken in careful stride. In 1993, when we moved to our new home, a reconverted soil sciences building, as you could see in Jill's photo, the sign had become a nostalgic reminder of a pioneering era that we had survived and now left behind. However, when the department took over the building in 1949 as the flagship of the first full drama department of the British Commonwealth, there's much to indicate that its neighbors, both on campus and in the community, viewed the new tenants as a curious species of wildlife, a kind of invasive weed. With luck, it would not spread from its isolated corner of the campus. With more luck, maybe it would go back to Regina where it belonged. Drama was the last of the three fine arts to arrive on campus, and it made up for lost time by causing more trouble than its older two siblings combined. My colleague's book, Amorous's Dream, focuses more on the world of aesthetic beauty, order, and harmony, epitomized by the Greystone Theatre stage. And here we have a photo of Canada, which is in fact the first play we did. This is perhaps the brightest and most memorable part of the dream, and I recommend that people read it. This paper, though, focuses on the drama going on behind the scenes in the first 5 years of the department's life. Often the dramas that happened on the stage over those years were relatively safe, conventional, and uncontroversial, as we can see in this photo of ghosts. But the dramas behind the scenes were, if anything, far more interesting and really unique to the department and to Saskatchewan. This talk makes three main points. First, in the 1940s, Saskatchewan was a large agrarian province possessing no major theatre centres, professional companies, or conservatories. Yet the department came into existence with surprising ease and speed when it did, because so many people, again for a surprising variety of reasons, saw the founding of a drama department as a practical, simple, made in Saskatchewan solution to the realities of an increasingly complex and turbulent post-war cultural scene. Having founded, though, being found with relative ease, though, the department went through a pretty tumultuous first decade, as its founders realized too late that instead of creating a simple, harmonious solution to a complex situation, they'd unwittingly embarked on a hazard experiment in volatile combustibles. Now, the organizers of the department may have aimed for alchemy and magic, but too often they achieved something that looked more like fission. Though the department moved into a more settled and conventional shape after 1954, in the period between 1944 and 54, its Spartan facilities were a fascinating sight of far larger, more complex cultural dreams, hopes, and conflicts. For these reasons alone, the founding and early years of the department are worth closer examination. So this is going to be kind of Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. So we're getting into Act 1. The full story of why the first drama department of the British Commonwealth was founded in Saskatchewan is beyond the scope of the paper. But let me introduce you briefly to the setting and the main actors who made it happen. First of all, there was the Saskatchewan Drama League. And founded in 1933, the league, as headed by Walter Reed, functioned like its sister provincial leagues in coordinating and supporting the activities of its membership and encouraging them to participate in the Dominion Drama Festival. It centralized all elements of community and educational drama work in the province into one volunteer-run umbrella. Representing some 140 societies at its height, the league was further unique in deciding to run its provincial drama festival with the Warriors, the only Canadian province to do so. The provincial government was the next actor. And we've got Tommy Douglas on the left, Mary Ellen Burgess in the middle, and Florence James on the right. Arguably, the League's unique nature was part of a large utopian socialist impetus in the province that had been building over the 1930s and was only beginning to crest in the 1940s. The first elected socialist government in North America? Sure. Socialized medicine? Hey, let's try it. The first arts board in North America? No problem. The first drama department in the British Commonwealth? Hey, why not? The third, probably most important, University of Saskatchewan. and that's, of course, Con Hall. At the student level, the University of Saskatchewan Dramatic Club, having recovered from both the war and the influenza, settled into a long and prosperous run in the years between 1920 and 1945. It usually offered at least one bill of one acts, often in the form of an inter-college festival competition. And here we have a sort of picture of it. It'd like to do an annual full-length play. And the two actors in this photo are interesting because one of them, I'll explain who she is in a minute. And it also gave entries in the local DDF competition. It more than held its own as a representative of the older pre-World War I British tradition with some new little theatre tweaks. At the administrative level, though, the university was moving into more venturesome ground. It established its progressiveness in the area of extension activities by 1910 forming the first university-centered Department of Extension in Canada. The university also committed itself under Walter Murray to developing the fine arts. In 1920, Gus Kenderdine became the first artist in residence at a Canadian university. He was given studio space in the physics building and began teaching non-credit courses over 1926-27. In 1933, he began teaching a few credit classes in art. In 1936, he became head of the first School of the Fine Arts established in Regina College in 1936 and curator of its gallery. In the same year, he established the summer school at Emma Lake. He headed both until his death in 1947. In 1931, the university scored a further coup by establishing the first chair of music in Western Canada. Arthur Collingwood, the first dean of the School of Music, taught classes, conducted public lectures, often in conjunction with the Saskatoon Symphony Orchestra, which he reorganized and conducted. He also did considerable extension and adjudication work in rural Saskatchewan associated with its music festival work and in the schools, and he supervised the work at the Conservatory of Music in Regina. He also remained the only professor of music until his retirement in 1947. Drama was slower to develop, but building on the Head Start and extension work, the university established an adult education division in 1937 with Professor K.W. Gordon serving as its director. As such, it joined a pan-Canadian adult education movement intent on cultivating the arts and fine arts, including drama, as part of a comprehensive program to revitalize and transform community life and education in rural districts. Founded at the same time to do similar work, the League and the Adult Education Division might have competed, instead largely through their amicable working and personal relationship with Reed and Gordon and J.S. Thompson, president of the university. The two groups had reached a reciprocity agreement by 1939, and by 1943, they were hatching an even more ambitious plan to consolidate their common interests institutionally with the formation of drama and a full-time chair who could cover drama extension work for the League and do coursework at the university, eventually leading to a BA with a specialization in drama. By the spring of 1944, the curtain to Act One of the Department of Drama story seemed about to rise. The Rockefeller Foundation had approved a grant for the university to promote 1, adult drama appreciation and organization, 2, junior drama appreciation, and 3, student training through creation of a university drama department. It had also engaged Miss Helen Stewart, a Saskatchewan native with an MA and MFA from American universities and extension experience in Alberta, to become the first chair. She was, in fact, one of the 2 young actors you saw earlier. She was a very active member of the Dramatic Society as well. The drama department in the British Commonwealth, under the direction of the first woman drama chair in the British Commonwealth. What could be better? It seemed poised to be in classes in the fall of 1944. What could possibly go wrong? And here we move on to Act Two. Well, the answer is really just about everything. The first thing that happened was Helen Stewart informed her stunned employer she'd be getting married to a young American actor that fall and would be unable to do the job beyond the first year. Well, she quickly changed her mind about staying even a year and followed her husband immediately. But Thompson wondered if some of her decision was prompted by the prospect of being caught between 2 bosses in 2 separate cities and being unsure which agenda took precedent. If so, it was a prescient worry. trouble was also brewing for the league. The government, again, being progressive, stepped in. It became clear the province was planning to start a new recreation league of its own, complete with its own full-time drama specialist. Mary Ellen Burgess in the middle, and the new Saskatchewan Arts Board was soon to engage one of its own, Florence James on the right. Never there be no more pressure on the league and the university extension to move quickly to fill the position with a suitable candidate to protect their existing monopoly on drama education in the province. Amorous Jones, a naturalized Welshman from Alberta, was quickly contacted, interviewed, and hired, though he was unable to start work because of other commitments until fall 1945. There was some uncertainty over whether the new chair would be centered in the main university in Saskatoon, where it'd be easier for him to lead a more academic life with extension work as required, or in Regina, where the technical facilities of Regina College were more available for production work, and the offices of the STL were located. But Jones graciously agreed to go to Regina, much to the release of Reed. And the curtain prepared to go up again. Now, it'd be nice to report that the first scene in our drama actually looked like this. And here we are back to Canada. But as I said, we're looking at what was actually going on behind the scenes. And sadly, what was going on behind the scenes looked a lot more like this. That alone should have alerted the university that it was in for a quite different experience with its third fine arts professor. Jones's background in educational, community, and extension work may have brought the new position into reach, but it also lulled the university and its community partners to expect they were getting another Collingwood or Kenderdine, a one-man dynamo who would be content with teaching a few courses on campus, maybe a fine arts summer school, while donating generous amounts of time to supervising the university's dramatic society and school community festival work, with a fuller department on campus developing, well, in time. But Jones, who was just starting out as the other two were wrapping up their careers, clearly felt he had no time to wait. Post-World War II Canada was rocketing into a major phase of rebuilding that included a shift to the professional theatre. Given that seismic shift and the brief window of opportunity he had to prepare for it, the only part of the original agenda that interested him was the creation of a department of drama along the American model. And he was ruthless about limiting, reassigning, or starting any of the original agendas that got in the way of that. Within months, a bitter and acrimonious dispute had broken out between Jones and Reed, climaxing in Reed's resignation as head of the league and Jones's moving of the new department to the main campus in Saskatoon. Gordon should have been pleased. He also felt the new department was better centered on the main campus, directly under the university's jurisdiction, instead of in a conservatory in a satellite college. But he too quickly realized, with mounting frustration and fury, Jones had little interest in pursuing the junior or community aspects of the department's original mandate, regardless of where he was centered. Jones was fine with seeing Burgess and James, who we pointed out earlier, take over those functions, especially in the rural areas. This allowed him to stay firmly centered in Saskatoon to build his department. Sadly, neither of the department's original midwives really recovered. The SDO was dissolved in 1950, and the work of the University Adult Education Division ended when Gordon retired in 1953. The work was largely subsumed into the work of the provincially run Saskatchewan Arts Board and Recreation Commission. Again, Burgess and James. The university, fortunately, survived, but it was close. What Jones inquired was the role of a department to be an important authority and guide for the Canadian theatre, or was it just to serve only the province and the community? Well, for Jones, it was a rhetorical question, of course. The basic model of the department itself may not have been unique. It certainly wasn't south of the 49th parallel. However, it was the first department of its kind to function in Canada at a time of revolutionary changes in national cultural policy. It had all sorts of national, perhaps even international implications that Jones was quick to point out. But this did lead to the somewhat odd spectacle of a British expatriate from Wales using his old world authority in his adopted country to argue for a sharp break with the earlier British models of drama education in favor of a more American model on the grounds it was the first of its kind in the British tradition, and ergo distinctly and uniquely Canadian. Well, the university was clearly sold on the principle of Emerson's dream, and the idea of scoring another first in the fine arts and leading the way in drama as it had in music. But it should have paid more attention to the inner contradictions, ironies, and complications of the pitch, and indeed of the pitcher. The first shot about across the bow was not long in coming. The odd polarity of the new department's practical academic mandate sparked a brief turf war with the Department of English. It was their mandate to teach drama, right? English was only partially mollified by drama's insistence. It was teaching theater arts, not theater literature. But it was the theater arts part of it that perplexed the university. They had approved the idea of a drama department in principle, but what did that mean in practice? Their experience with Jones soon taught them that 1, drama departments, while much smaller, were much surlier and more demanding than English departments. 2, they were at least as noisy as music and as messy as arts departments. And 3, when you put it all together, the scripts, the grease paint, the sets, the costumes, the lighting, the sound, and the music, they were more trouble than the other 3 put together. Theater arts at the university meant the Dramatic Society performing in Convocation Hall a couple of times a year. They were taken back by Jones's insistence that the theater arts to him meant drama having a properly equipped production lab and theater space as part of its curricular mandate. When he insisted that Convocation Hall could not be adapted into a proper theater space without making it unsuitable for anything else, the university proposed moving drama into an old RCAF recreation hall. Well, at least until it was required for other recreational purposes. Jones was soon to develop a love-hate relationship with the old hangar building. As he was recalled in 1971, as far as the building itself is concerned, the only really exciting things that happened thereafter would come under the headings of flood, with some of us gaily canoeing along the top of 4 feet of water through the hangar building, and fire. Well, accidentally, I'm sure, fire occurred several times. But the Air Force had so thoroughly fireproofed the structure, the damn thing just would not burn down. But to hear Jones tell the story, giving drama space in the hangar building was a little akin to inviting the devil over the threshold. This is Jones again. That year, 1947, the hangar building was brought in from somewhere and re-erected on campus. Just to see it from the outside today, we were not given any space in it. But when no one of any great authority was looking, and with the help of a kindly little Welsh foreman, we quietly took a room there in for our workshop. In this room, we built a strange wooden floor, a little less than 3 feet above the concrete. The following summer, by some coincidence, this partition between the workshop and the adjoining classroom number 3 got knocked down, and the opening became covered by a large red draw curtain. In the classroom portion, rows of backless wooden benches were arranged, and Professor Holroyd most skillfully painted the walls to look like stonework. And behold, we had Greystone Theatre. The university was to foolishly let its guard down again during a quiet summer in the mid-1960s. Before they knew it, another classroom space in the building that looked like this, again by some coincidence, ended up looking like this. Jones scored another major coup for team theater arts in 1947 with the hiring of a second professor. By Jones's account, 7 people applied and 6 dropped out because they didn't want to move to Saskatchewan. The 7th, Frank Holroyd, a British expatriate who lived in Edmonton for many years, felt he could survive anything Saskatoon threw at him. But the hiring of a professor to work almost solely in the design and technical area and the acquiring a building to do it in brought Emma's dream much closer. Finally, he had his theater lab where he could mount his own season of productions and other experiments drawing upon the talent of, quote, townspeople, faculty members, students of the departments and colleges all over the campus, unquote. A third major development in the dream started in 1947. Oddly enough, this one did address Reed and Gordon's earlier concerns about the department doing substantial community outreach in the department, rather than the province. But this too was strongly shaped by Amorous's particular dream, not theirs. A professional theater for Saskatchewan, peopled by graduates of his department, was definitely another sugar plum dancing in Jones's head. Given the small and scattered nature of the province's population, Amorous saw little chance of successfully launching a professional theatre even in the larger cities, but he was inspired by the example of the Everyman Players, a professional touring company established in Edmonton that managed to survive by touring 70 locations between Vancouver and Winnipeg over 1947, and he was inspired to try his own experiment along those lines. It was a summer company. It was a summer company that toured the province, perhaps with the northern and southern circuit and extensions into Manitoba and the States. Now, might that not be enough to keep a young troupe of professionals going? Funding to be based on donations and box office is very tight. In 1948, Jones acerbically informed Malabar's, a theater costume company, that, quote, "We're doing our damnedest to get this first tour organized and running. Nothing is going to stop us, even if we have to play the goddamn shows in our bare skins," unquote. Still, in 1948, the department was able to proudly announce that Saskatchewan's first professional traveling theatre company is now a fact, and it will begin its first tour of the province on May 25, when it presents 2 plays in the village of Tompkins in the southwest corner of the province. In many ways, the years between 1947 and 1951 were golden ones for the department. Greystone Theatre, a triumphant outcome of drama's acquiring of both the hangar building and a second professor to turn it into an effective theatre lab, formally opened with Oedipus Rex in 1950, with Amorous Jones playing the lead role as Oedipus, as you can see, while the Western Stage Company prepared to hit the road for its 3rd year. While the department had been founded far away from either major culture centers or professional theaters, Jones could well argue that only after 6 years, he had surely used his dream to develop the conditions for both those necessities to emerge in Saskatchewan and in Canada. And we move on to Act 3. Beyond 1951, the department's development began to slow down for reasons even Jones' visionary fervor, bulldog determination, and tenacity could not overcome. Plagued by financial and technical issues, the 3rd tour of the Western Stage Company had to be curtailed, and there was no 4th tour. As for his hard-won production lab, it must surely have been a low point for Jones in 1955, when the university suggests that perhaps the department could move back into Con Hall, quote, "since the hangar is now badly needed for a curling rink," unquote. Worse yet, at a time when his instinct was to seize the moment and expand the department even further in the direction of theatre arts training, if it was to keep its lead as Canada's model for future unity-based theatre training, the university had finally learned how to say no to him. The department and Jones himself survived the crisis in the 1950s, and he continued to chair the department until 1971. As he prepared to leave, he felt his accomplishments were impressive notwithstanding, and he listed them. It was the first drama department in the British Commonwealth. As such, it served as a model for establishing other drama departments and theatres in places as widespread as South America, Great Britain, Australia, and India. 2, it was the first department of the Commonwealth to graduate a Master of Arts in Drama. 3, in 1948, 49, and 50, the department's professional theatre company had toured the length and breadth of populated Saskatchewan, taking its performances of classical modern plays to within easy reach of almost every possible playgoer in the province, plus many came from Manitoba, Montana, and North Dakota. 4, in its first 26 years of existence, the department had offered 95 major programs giving activity instruction to all phases of the theatre to 750 participants, both on campus and off. His only real disappointment was the refusal of the hangar building to burn, so that the university would be forced to build a new fine arts center. Taken all together, not bad for a family of skunks. Struggling gallantly to find some Escher-like way of reconciling all the irreconciliables in the same picture, without exhausting its scant 2 boards and impassioned resources in the process, the early department was astonishing, not because it ultimately failed in that purpose and to achieve the impossible, but because for a few heady years, it looked as if it might actually succeed. If we are the stuff as dreams are made on, then there's no getting around the fact that it's been one heck of a dream. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Moira and Jill, for your presentations. We can take a look at our questions. So we have one question by Timothy. Hi, Timothy. I don't have a question. Just tell Moira she's great.
Thanks.
And while we wait for the rest of the questions to roll in, Jill or Moira, do you have any questions for each other for your presentations?
I don't think so. Jill?
I mean, I suppose, Moira, I didn't go very much into depth into the pandemic information, and maybe because Mason was doing his project on that area of expertise. Was there anything that happened that he included in his presentation that could have been added, I suppose, to mine?
Just that that glittering touring era, certainly the First World War, hurt it, but so did the pandemic, the influenza, because at that point there wasn't much you could do except pack your bags and go home. And a lot of companies just didn't survive it, being hit by the war and then hit by the pandemic. I think the point that Mason made is that, yeah, in 2020, the pandemic closed things down, but electronic media had advanced so much that people had other options to closing down. But 1918, certainly it was one of the things that helped end the touring era and bring the little theater era in. So that kind of was the start of that. And I'm sort of at the end of that period. So it played its role in helping to bring a new era in.
Thank you. We have another question by Bob. Hello. Did any of the offstage drama make its way on stage in the content or themes of shows that were being produced or toured?
Yeah, but you'd probably have to come out on Saturday and talk to the people who were actually there. As I said, I look old enough to be in there in 1945, but really I wasn't. But they actually have the good stories. And I think Dwayne actually has some in his book as well. What could possibly go wrong? Famous last words, eh?
Thank you. So we don't have any other questions. Bob says, I'll be there. Thanks, Moira.
Okay, well, as I said, you want the war stories and the firsthand experiences, come out Saturday and talk to the people who were actually there.
Thank you so much. I think we don't have any other questions coming in, so we can just wrap up for the night.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming out and being part of our opening celebrations and our first panel, Exploring the Past, especially focusing the periods 1945 to 1971. Please continue the journey with us on Saturday. We've got Marion Mills, Dennis Hunt, Rissy Bornston, who are all from this period, who are going to be talking about their experiences with Amorous and with Greystone. So please come out, check those great panels, events, and reunions will be coming up between tonight and June 19th. And just a reminder again, that tickets for Unity 1918, our 75th anniversary play, directed by alumni director Sky Brandon, go on sale today. So thank you, everybody.